And we are ready to start our project. This is our video project for week 7 of the course as we take a look at those toxic coworkers. I think we've all had one or two of those throughout our time. And I don't want anybody saying anything about anybody in this group. Taking a look at the group, as a matter of fact, we are Marcy Huck, Felicia Jones, Chase Deaton, and Caroline Van Gozen. So starting off this evening as we take a look at the 6 different points from this video, we're going to start off with Caroline as she talks about the boundary busters. Caroline.
A boundary buster is someone that invades your space, eats up your times, talks your ear off, heats food up that you can barely stand. It's one of those people that just to get on that nerve that one nerve that you have. How to deal with that is you're not going to be able to change this person. This person is the way that they are. You're just going to have to personalize the situation and understand that it's not about you. This isn't anything that you're doing. It's just about them. So you need to devise a plan of how you're going to deal with them and follow through. We all have that person that's been a boundary buster. I worked at Harley Davidson when I was going through college time for my bachelor's. I worked with a girl that I could not stand. The way she smoked, the way she talked, the way she walked. She was just one of these person that just really got on my nerves, and I had to take a step back and not make it about me, not make it the situation about me, but make the situation about her, and really just not complain about her, not try to work with her the best that I possibly could. And in the end, the situation took care of itself. If we all were just a little more patient in life, I think that would be the case often. So that's a boundary buster.
All right. Then taking a look at the exploder, Felicia is going to cover that one for us. Felicia.
All right. So the exploder is the one who loses their temper, their composure. And it's not just that one person is at anybody in the office, or whatever it is. And the thing that we have to remember is, Caroline said, you can't change them. So the power that works activity. So let them rant. If they want to stump up the wall and slam doors, let them have it. Sensitivity simply means understanding who they are, negotiate over interests and position and not positions. So find out what's bothering them and say, okay, well, let's talk about to resolve this. Don't look at the other thing, the position. What they want or what they need, and why is there a way you can accommodate them? If they don't like the fact that the sun is shining in the window as it has for 30 years, and their desk is in that corner, then maybe you could move the desk around. So just little things to accommodate them. Just saying, put yourself in their shoes. Be sensitive to what's going on. Be empathetic. And see the situation from where they would see it. And finally, according to Gardner, it says leaders must with and appraise the situation to resolve it. So that's what a leader with sensitivity would do.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Felicia. As we take a look at the exploder now, the Space Invader, Marcy is going to cover that for us.
Yes. Well, it kind of plays off a little bit of what Caroline was saying. Space Invader is someone that, comes too close, stays around too close, gets in your space. They also have a way of taking time away from your day. They come and want to talk in your office for 30 minutes or, they're not very productive. They waste time throughout the day. And so one of the things that, if unchecked, Space Invaders end up making less productivity throughout the day. They cause time delays in projects and tasks. They also can create some uncomfortability between people if they're standing too close or just, talking too much and someone really wants to be focused and get their task done. It's one of those kind of people that just, they don't understand that they're causing delays or uncomfortability with other people in the office. So, it is a significant problem in organizations because people are unaware of what they're doing when they're invading your space or invading your time in the office. So one of the things that is really important to do when you are encountered with a space invader is, if they're becoming too close, you kind of stand a little bit, not in a disrespectful way, but in a very respectful way. Instead of letting them touch your shoulder, give them a handshake instead of like a hug. And then if they're going for the hug, kind of back away, turn away, and give them a handshake. Or if they're standing too close, kind of take a step back and turn a little bit so they understand that you're not wanting to be face to face too close on. If they're taking too much time throughout your day, kind of give them a little, clues here, like, oh, I've been working on this task and it's due by this time. So giving yourself or saying a deadline at a certain time helps them, kind of giving them a clue to say, hey, I should probably leave them to do their task. Also kind of hinting at a deadline for them as well to get their task done throughout the day. If they are lagging in their task, that ends up resulting in causing your task delayed if they, collaborate in that project. So space invaders are people that, take up too much time throughout the day with talking or just wasting time throughout the day or invading your space. And the way to deal that is kind of giving slight hints with body language and verbal language in a kind way to help them understand what you want and how you want to be able to be communicated with in the office.
One of the things that I found is a problem is when that space invader doesn't pick up on social cues. So when you try to do those things, Marcy, and that space invader just keeps right on talking, even though you're sitting there doing your work and you're doing everything to ignore them, and they don't pick up on that social cue.
Yeah.
I have lots of students that are like that.
What's that, Caroline?
I have lots of students that are space invaders.
And I also have a situation where I'm faced with that with some of my athletes. I'm a young female tennis coach, and I have these men or male tennis players that, that come up and they want to talk to me, and we're trying to do a drill. And I'm like, hey, first of all, I try to put the cart of basketballs between us because some of them don't realize how close they are to me when they're talking to me. So I try to put the cart between us to kind of give that social cue of, hey, you need to be a little bit farther away from me. This needs to be looking professional, not like we're buddies. Number two, let's get things going. We have a deadline. We need to get this drill, and this drill done before practice is over. So this is one thing. I do face a lot of space invaders in our practices on the daily.
All right. And moving on then, our next point is going to be the credit stealer, and Chase is going to cover that for us. Chase.
Credit stealers, very self-explanatory. Credit stealer is the type of person that's going to take credit for something that is not their own. Very easy to identify a credit stealer. A credit stealer is the type of person that uses language such as we have accomplished or we did this, and it kind of makes it as a collective unit. When in all reality, if there's like a group of 3 or 4 people, this individual person did not do anything. Another way to identify this type of person is if there's like a complicated task and there's like some like minuscule like efforts. When you ask for like an update, this is the type of person that's like, okay, yeah, we did this and we did that, and they're kind of saying, look at all we did. When in all reality, it's really not that significant. But from the naked eye, it looks like, wow, that person's doing all this work. Perfect example of this, back in my undergrad days when I was a younger child, 2 years ago. In science class, we had to do this project, and we had one guy. He did not do any of the work. He'd always be sharpening pencils and getting us Kleenexes and making sure the counter was wiped. And to the naked eye, this guy looked like he was doing everything, but this guy could not do anything regarding to the assignment. He didn't do his homework. This was a classic credit stealer, and the professor kind of caught on afterwards. But the credit stealer is the type of person that would rather look busy and show the group accomplishment, but if you're really focused on their individual efforts, it's clear that they're not making any contribution. Ways around this. In my profession as a recruiter, you got to find ways to kind of own your stuff because obviously it's a money-driven business. So every time I am logging activity, whether I'm calling someone or someone gets a job or I'm negotiating pays, I'm logging information, I'm documenting it. I feel that when in the professional work environment, when you're ever able to document activity, whenever you're saying something like, well, I thought you thought like this last week when we talked about it, you're kind of making a social cue to this person. Hey, I've already done the previous work. You can back that up. It kind of is a great way to show and kind of reveal the credit stealer for what they really are. If someone says, well, I did this, and you can prove and say, hey, I actually did this a week ago. I said this and I documented that. All of a sudden, their story kind of fall apart. So credit stealers, probably one of the most like frustrating people to deal with, just because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're trying to be rewarded off your hard work. And third, if they're not contributing to you, they're bringing you down. So overall, it's a tough environment to be in.
Thank you, Chase.
Yeah.
And the last, somebody got something to add? No?
No.
Okay. The last couple of points for our presentation on toxic coworkers are the saboteur and the empty pit. Now, the saboteur, kind of interesting. This is the person that's nice to your face, but then turns around and stabs you in the back when you're not around. Now, in a 2006 interview with Crowley and Elster, who were part of the Business Week video that we all watched, in an interview about their book, Working With You Is Killing Me, with Michelle Archer of USA Today, Crowley and Elster identified this as the most difficult person to deal with because you tend to not know who they are until the damage is done. Because they're doing all of the stuff behind your back, you don't see the damage until it's already over with, and then you're left picking up the pieces and trying to put things back together. Now, the empty pit is somebody who kind of wants you to be their therapist. They want to bring all of their problems to you and dump all of their problems on you, and want to, have you be that person that, helps them with their issues. Now, again, in an interview, this interview with Crowley and Elster, they said unhooking is the best way to take care of these situations. So they say unhook physically. They say go out and take a breath, go for a walk, do something to just kind of get out away from the situation, whatever it happens to be. They say unhook mentally, which would be to kind of take a look at the situation and dissect it to figure out what's really going on here. So with the saboteur, what's really going on here? Are they stabbing you in the back because they want the position that you're up for, or are they the empty pit? Is there problems at home that they need to deal with, and so they're dumping it on you? Unhook verbally. Find the words to protect yourself from the situation. Hey, I'm sorry, I don't have the time. It sounds like you really need somebody. I just can't talk to you for the next half hour or so. I've got something I need to do. And then finally, they say unhook with a business tool of some kind. They say you can use documents like memos to track events with people that have caused problems. Just keep track of these things in a business way so that you can kind of follow where the problems are coming from.
Absolutely.
So that kind of wraps up our presentation for tonight. Anybody have any last words they'd like to throw in here?
I just think we've all dealt with all of these kind of people in our everyday life, and sometimes people have more than one of these problems.
I was about to say that, yeah. When you're kind of looking over some of the topics, I was like, man, I can find one person that's got just about every single one of those traits, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. I can think of somebody that is a space invader and a credit taker as well.
Well, I've known a few saboteurs in my day.
Yeah, those are the worst. Those are the worst.
All right, if that's about it, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you for watching. For Marcy and Felicia and Chase and Caroline, good evening.